one of the things that Jesus is doing in his parables, as he compares things, just as Asaph in Psalm 78 is comparing things, speaking in utterances that are somewhat enigmatic, comparing things with things until all of history is viewed a bit differently. So Jesus, with his parables and his parallel structures, recreates the history again to help people to see what the kingdom is going to look like, how it will be built. And Jesus tells these parables thus, at least in part, because in line with Scripture, his message reveals things hidden in Scripture. And it is out of this matrix, you see, that eventually the New Testament writers, taking their cue from the hermeneutics of Jesus at the end of the day, they begin to see how these trajectories do work through the Scripture. With the Passover sacrifice pointing forward to the ultimate Passover, making Paul write, Christ our Passover has been sacrificed for us, 1 Corinthians 5. And then you look at Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, the sacrifice of the bull and the goat for the sins of the priest and of the nation, pointing forward to the ultimate sacrifice, Hebrews chapters 9 and 10, the ultimate Day of Atonement sacrifice, not before a tent or a temple, but in the heavenly sanctuary before God himself. And there's the blood of those various animals spilled by the thousands of gallons at the times of the great festivals, and now the blood of Christ outstrips them all. And then there's the temple itself with the veil that stops people from going into the most holy place. But now Christ's flesh is the veil. Once torn, it opens up the way of access into God's very presence. And then there were the priests, the mediators, and now Christ is the ultimate high priest. And the temple itself, which was the meeting place between God and human beings, God and sinful human beings, and now Jesus himself is the ultimate temple, the ultimate meeting place between God and human beings. The patterns are all there, don't you see? And who got them together? Because the knowledge of the mystery of the kingdom has been given to you and not to them. Jesus uses forms of communication that unpack these trajectories, that unpack how we are to read the Old Testament in a way that nevertheless, at the same time, hides things from people who remain in their sneering condescension, and the truth simply blinds them. So why does Jesus tell parables? Theologically, he tells parables because in line with Scripture, his message blinds, deafens, and hardens. Theologically, he tells parables because in line with Scripture, his message reveals things hidden in Scripture.